So a helicopter that was parked on top of the Hibiscus garage took off and left. So I'm not sure what's going on over there, if they have it contained or not, but I can tell you the people who came out of the garage initially and were hiding behind those cars, they are still hiding behind the cars. Still kind of in eyesight of the garage. So a lot of stuff still going on here, and once again we are not getting information from the sheriff's office at the moment. However, I am seeing more officers kind of milling around, not as on heightened alert as they appear to be normally. Some of them just standing, not in sort of stand defensive stance. So it looks, at least where I am at the moment, between Terminals 1 and 2, the officers appear to be a bit more calm. But once again, what you're looking at right now, there are people who were inside the terminals who were evacuated, at least where I am, and 2 now on the north side of the airport. They walked across one taxiway, across the runway, the northern runway, across the Royal taxiway, and now we're on the other side over by what's called the MPOs, the fixed base operators. All those garages you see out there, which is right next to I-595 taxiway, just standing there. And we know the TSA officers are over there with them. They will be glad to be there. So there's a kind of let all over the airport outside, and then this is where they ended up. So right now, still waiting to understand the ESO and the airport TSA officer what's going on with all these multiple situations.
Today we're getting some conflicting reports from Lauderdale International Airport. Welcome to our country. Some of them are coming from law enforcement, quite frankly, which is understandable in a situation like this. It's a breaking news story, and everyone's trying to ascertain
some of them are coming from law enforcement, which is understandable in a situation like this. It's a breaking news story, and everyone's trying to ascertain exactly what's going on. The Broward Sheriff has 9 minutes ago issued a BSO saying that there is an active search. There are unconfirmed reports of additional shots being fired on airport property.
And these situations, you often get other reports like that, as David was talking about with you earlier. Any little thing in a situation like this, any kind of word, any kind of rumor, or even a loud noise can startle you sometimes. But when you do have confirmation from a law enforcement agency like that, it's a little more credence, and that certainly would make sense with what we're seeing with all of these people running in different directions. It's chaotic. We mentioned also this is still holiday travel time. It's the high season here in South Florida, the whole coming. I know Air Canada flies there. There are a lot of tourists coming in and out of South Florida at this time while we're here for the holidays, and more people traveling and flying in and out of South Florida than the rest of the year. You see people on the ground there from Chocolate Forward still making their way to the Canada less panicked and completely calm. Looks like passengers and crew members or airport employees, but still people just going in different directions out on the tarmac there, and also the airport there from a different angle from Chocolate Forward, and also the traffic we saw just completely coming to a stop. But as you mentioned, Rick, we do have confirmation that the shooter is Esteban Santiago, that he had a military ID, and that he was born in New Jersey. We're still trying to find out more about him, and whether there's another active shooting team there, whether there's another possible shooter, or whether the people there might be more
scheduled programming. We
top
are
of the
doing
hour,
breaking
just after
news
3
coverage
o'clock,
right
and
now
if you're tuning
of
into
a shooting that
CBS
has
Network,
taken place,
you
a
can watch our
deadly shooting
regularly scheduled
at Fort
programming.
Lauderdale
We are doing
Hollywood
breaking
International
news coverage
Airport.
right
It
now
has been a
of a
tragic
shooting
day
that has
here
taken
in
place,
South
a
Florida.
deadly shooting
CBS News
at
has been
Fort
able to
Lauderdale
confirm a
Hollywood
gunman named
International
Esteban
Airport. It has been a
Santiago
tragic
walked
day
into the
here
baggage
in
claim
South
area
Florida.
of Terminal
CBS
2, that is
News
the
was able
Delta
to
baggage
confirm a
claim
gunman
area,
named Esteban
just before
Santiago
12:50
walked
this
into the baggage
afternoon
claim
and
area
opened
at
fire.
Terminal
We have
2, that is
reports
the
that 5
Delta
people
baggage
have
claim
been
area,
killed, that 8
just
more
before
are
12:50
injured. I
this
would warn you
afternoon.
that it's
He
early
had
on
opened
and
fire.
those
We
numbers
have
could
reports that
change.
5 people
But it
have been
seems as
killed,
though once the
8
gunman
more
was
are
taken into
injured.
custody,
I would warn
things
you
were
that it's
beginning
early
to get
on
back
and
to
those
normal. We
numbers
were
could
told that the
change.
upper
But it
level
seemed
of
as
the
though
airport
once
was
the
being
gunman was
reopened.
taken into
We saw
custody,
passengers
things
who
were
had been
beginning to get
evacuated
back
onto
to
the
normal. We
tarmac
were told that the
slowly being
upper
allowed
level
to
of
go
the
back
airport
into
was
the
being
airport,
reopened.
and then
We saw
suddenly, without
passengers who had
warning
been
and at this point
evacuated onto
without
the tarmac
explanation, we saw
slowly being
another
allowed to go
scene of
back into
panic
the
as
airport.
passengers
And then
began
suddenly,
running
without
once
warning
again
and at this
from
point
the
without
airport
explanation,
onto the
we saw
tarmac.
another
There have
scene
been
of panic
unconfirmed
as
reports
passengers
of
began
another
running
shooting
once again
situation on
from the
airport
airport
property.
onto
We
the
have not
tarmac. There have been
confirmed those
unconfirmed
reports,
reports of
but
another
BSO
shooting situation
tweeting
on
out on their
airport
Twitter
property.
account that there is
We
an
have
active
not
search
confirmed
underway
those
as they attempt to
reports,
confirm whether
but
or not
BSO
there is still a danger,
tweeting
that
out on
there
their
is still
Twitter
a
account
threat.
that there is
As
an
of
active
right now,
search
though, those
underway
reports are
as they attempt to
unconfirmed. The
confirm whether
situation
or not
at the
there is
airport,
still
as
a
you can
danger,
imagine,
that
is
there
a
is
scene
still a
of
threat.
chaos.
As of right
You
now,
are
though,
advised
those
not to go
reports are
anywhere near the
unconfirmed.
airport
The
if you don't
situation
have
at the
to.
airport,
The
as you
airport
can
is
imagine,
completely
is a
shut
scene
down
of
with no flights arriving or being allowed at this point to take off. We saw a string of planes on the tarmac in line, being ready to be cleared for takeoff. None of them going anywhere as this situation unfolds. Of course, we continue to watch the situation, and these are live pictures, and you can see the law enforcement scene very much law enforcement out there in force.
We continue to watch the situation, and these are live pictures, and you can see the law enforcement scene very much law enforcement out there in force.
This is coming from
Okay, and we have Ted Scout who is at the airport for us. Ted, what can you tell us?
This is Terminal 1. According to these passengers, this is coming from passengers who got off the United flight. They were right over here. This is Terminal 1. According to these passengers, this is not confirmed with law enforcement, but passengers who were very upset said that when they got off the plane, they heard gunfire inside of Terminal 1 is what they said. I don't know where, but that's what they said. Also, a pilot for United, told one of our photographers that
I think we lost Ted, but he said that according to passengers, unconfirmed, but according to passengers, they told our reporter Ted Scott
Okay, I think we lost Ted, but he said that according to passengers, unconfirmed, but according to passengers, they told our reporter Ted Scouten on the scene that coming off the United flight, they heard gunfire inside Terminal 1. And we also know that TSA minutes ago tweeted out, update, active shooter at FLL shelter-in-place airport closed. So this could possibly be a second
I got you.
Ted back now, Ted.
Continue on. You were talking about what you heard.
It could possibly be a second shooter.
I'm here. I got you. Right, the pilot from United said when he got off the plane,
you heard from the pilot from United and also from passengers there on the ground.
Right, the pilot from United said when he got off the plane, he started to smell what appeared to be gunpowder. We spoke to some passengers who are very distraught, saying when they got off the plane, they heard gunfire. All that was in Terminal 1. Now remember, the initial report was inside Terminal 2. These are people saying they heard it inside of Terminal 1. We're waiting for confirmation from BSO. By the way, I see the FBI over here now too. I see several FBI officers walking in this direction. Now they're going by. So the FBI is on the scene. Anyway, so people heard, so they heard gunfire inside of Terminal 1. Once again, that's Terminal 1 over there. We also, at Terminal 1, that's also the place where we saw a lot of people running out of. This is the one where people said they heard that gunfire. We saw people running out of there at one point, getting away from the building. At the same time, we saw more people getting behind cars. Possibly coming from the side. Any kind of
Unfortunately, something going on there. So, still several things going on at the airport right now. Still any kind of updates, as I said, we see FBI agents here now. Several FBI agents walking past the area here. So hopefully we'll get some confirmed information from them in just a little while.
And Ted, it sounded like there's a little bit of commotion around you. Obviously, it's a very chaotic scene there, but it sounded like some people yelling just a minute ago. Am I right?
Okay, so chaotic there.
I just heard people yelling. It was exactly heard photographers yelling to get people out of the way because they were trying to shot them.
Okay, so chaotic there. It's hard to just kind of piece together what happened, but we do know that in two separate terminals, one of them, law enforcement officials have confirmed that there was a shooting earlier today, and now witnesses telling Ted Scouten that they heard shots at yet another terminal later on in the afternoon. Right?
We've heard from the White House that President Obama has been briefed on the situation and is getting updates from his national security staff who President elect Donald Trump, who says that he's been in touch with Governor Scott, sending his prayers to everyone who was affected by the shooting at the Fort Lauderdale
Sending his prayers
Airport.
to Donald.
Out on the tarmac, this is not where you would typically see passengers, of course, but in the case of an emergency evacuation, people have been brought out there. We have seen parents, we have kids, we've seen elderly people, people in wheelchairs, so very, very distressing situation for an awful lot of people who are impacted by this. We've also seen a lot of airplanes off the ground. Many of those planes are filled with passengers who are not going anywhere. We've been getting some information from various sources that tell us about some of the flights, whether they have landed or whether they have been diverted. Some flights have been diverted to Orlando. We're told about a flight that Spirit flight that was diverted 523 from Newark to Fort Lauderdale has been instead sent to Orlando. Another Spirit flight from Cleveland to Fort Lauderdale has been diverted to West Palm Beach. Another one from Atlantic City has been diverted to Fort Myers, Florida. So we're expecting
Hollywood, there is a very good possibility that that flight has been diverted someplace else, and you should check in with the various carriers to find out the latest information on where your loved one or friend's flight might be landing, because it's not landing in Fort Lauderdale.
And just a quick note here, Broward Sheriff's also tweeting out, please don't tie up 911. Apparently people are calling in 911 to try to get
And just a quick note
information,
here,
and
Broward Sheriff's also tweeting out, please don't tie up 911. Apparently people are calling in 911 to try to get information, and they are clogging up the phone lines. It's very important that you don't do that, because they need to be open for this active situation. They say 911 dispatch does not have any information. Watching media reports, maybe go on social media, but please don't call into 911 looking for information. We are trying to get as much information as we can, and we're bringing that to you as soon as we get it. We have Joan Murray, who said she was actually one of the people inside the airport. She was there trying to talk to witnesses when officials and people started kind of getting chaotic and told her to get on the ground, and she actually had to get on the ground. She was among those people inside during that possible second incident, or that possible wave of panic. So we are still trying to figure that out. But again, TSA did tweet out that there was an active shooter, and this was just 29 minutes, 34 minutes ago now, which would have been much later than the first shooting incident. So there you see people walking out again on the ground.
And we have been told that the shooter who is in custody once again is Esteban Santiago, who has a military ID. Senator Bill Nelson of Florida also sharing that same information with the cable
from
news
law
network just a short
enforcement
time ago.
sources
We were talking to
Senator Bill Nelson of Florida also shared that same information
our
with the
colleague
cable
from
news
CBS
network
News,
just a
Chris
short time
Van
ago.
within the last hour
To
or so, who told us that
transportation
as of
correspondent,
that
and our
time,
colleague
spoke
from
with him that there
CBS,
was
Chris
no
Van Cleave,
indication,
within the last
according
hour
to his
or
sources,
so,
of any terror
told us that
event. Of course, that's
as
the
of
big
that
question on
moment when we
everybody's
spoke
mind,
with him,
because
that
we
there
have
was
seen
no indication,
airports
according to his
targeted
sources,
in
of
the
any
past.
terror
We have seen
event.
airports
Of
here in
course,
the
that's
United
a big
States being
question on
targeted,
everybody's
and most
mind, because
recently
we have
in
seen
Europe, in Brussels,
airports
and
targeted
elsewhere,
in the past. We've
because
seen
of the
airports here
nature
in
of
the States
airports.
being
There are
targeted,
particular
and
parts of
most
airports
recently
where
in Europe,
security
in
is
Brussels,
tight, and then there are other parts of airports where security
because of
is
the
not
nature
so
of
tight,
airports, there are
what
particular parts of
experts
airports
refer
where
to as
security is
soft
tight,
targets.
and there are
And
other
this
parts of
initial
airports
shooting,
where
where
security is
multiple
not
people
so
were
tight,
killed, we were told
what
took place at the
experts
baggage
refer to
claim
as soft
area of
targets.
Terminal
And this
2,
initial
the
shooting,
Delta
where
baggage
multiple
claim
people were
area of
killed,
Terminal
we were
2.
told took place
And if
at
you're
the
on
baggage
social media,
claim
perhaps you've
area
seen the
of
pictures that
Terminal
we
2.
have as well,
The
which we will
Delta
not be
baggage
broadcasting
claim
because
area of
of the
Terminal
graphic
2.
nature of
And
them,
if you're on
of
social
various
media,
people who
perhaps
have
you've seen
been,
the pictures that we have as
some
well,
of them, it
which
looked
we will not be
mortally wounded
broadcasting
and
because
lying on
of
the
the
ground
graphic
being
nature
attended
of
to
them.
by other
Various
passengers or
people
loved
have
ones or
been
family members there.
some
Just
of
a
them have
terrible,
been mortally
terrible
wounded
scene, and
and
you can see
lying on the
people
ground
lying
being
there,
attended to by other
obviously
passengers
very
or loved ones
severely
or family
wounded as a
members there.
result of this
Just a terrible,
shooting,
terrible
again,
scene. You
at
can
the
see people
hands
lying
of a
there,
man who's been
obviously
identified to
very
us as
severely
Esteban
wounded as a result
Santiago,
of this
with a
shooting.
military ID
Again,
born in New
at
Jersey,
the
and we keep
hands
repeating that
of a man
information
who's
only
been
because we don't
identified
really have
to us
anything else
as
to go
Esteban
on right now.
Santiago,
But obviously
with a
this is the
military
early
ID
stages
born
of
in New
this
Jersey.
situation,
We
and
keep
we're going to be
repeating that
learning a lot
information
more
only because
as
we
the
don't
day
really have
goes
anything
on.
else
And also
to go
another,
on
Port
right now. But
Everglades
obviously
closed
this
to
is
all
the early
traffic
stages
now
of the
because of this
situation, and
developing
we're going to be learning
situation
a lot
at Fort
more
Lauderdale
Emma!
International Airport.
We also know that
You
Port
definitely want to
Everglades
see, you can see the
closed
live
to all
pictures there from
traffic
top
now
before. You
because of this
definitely want to
developing
stay away from
situation
this
at Fort
area.
Lauderdale Hollywood
If you
International
can,
Emma!
you know that Miami
Definitely
International
want to
Airport
see
is
the
Emma
operating
Ray!
all flights
Want me to paint your nails?
and they are operating as usual. So of course a lot of these flights are going to
National
be diverted,
Airport is
canceled,
operating all
delayed.
I got a pretty color!
Have a flight, I would just definitely urge you to check with your airlines before you go. If you're expecting passengers, probably
I would just definitely urge you to
now
check
look,
with
you
your
see live
airlines
pictures
before you
of
go.
law
If you're
enforcement
expecting
running under that
passengers,
parking garage.
probably
It
don't
Yeah.
looks
be
like
out of there
heavy
anytime
artillery. It
soon.
looks like
Now look,
guns. They
you
were
see
holding
live
guns and running
pictures
under
of
there.
law
They've
enforcement
just
running
been
under
hidden
that
from
parking
view from
garage
our
with
chopper because they're
like
under that garage.
heavy
But
artillery.
they're
Look
definitely,
like guns.
I saw, I think
They're
about
holding
half a
guns
dozen
and
of
running
them
under there.
running. It
They've
looked
just
like they
been
had some
hidden from view
urgency
from
and
our
they
chopper
did
because
have
they're
their
under
guns
that
drawn.
garage. But they're
And
definitely,
we're looking at
I
a scene here
think
on
about
the
half a
overpass
dozen
where
of
you
them
see how
running.
heavy
It
this
looked
law
like they had
enforcement
some
presence
urgency and they
is.
were
All
to have
hands
their
on
guns
deck
drawn.
as the
We're
situation
looking at a
remains
scene here
very
on the
active. People
overpass.
still
You
trying to
see
figure
how
out whether
heavy
there
this
was
law
a second
enforcement
shooting
presence
there
is.
or
All
some
hands
sort
on
of
deck
second
as the situation
gunfire
remains very active.
explosion.
People still
People just
trying to
trying to
figure out
figure out
whether
what
there
was
was a
going on.
second
Such a chaotic
there.
scene.
Well, conflicting reports here today, and for those of us
Come here, Emma!
it's very frustrating because obviously we don't want to pass anything along that isn't 100% correct, but we're hearing from two different two different law enforcement organizations, one the TSA and the other Broward Sheriffs, that there is either an active shooting
Emma, come here!
an active search for a potential potential shooter. So we're getting some conflicting information, whether it's actually taking place or whether they're just investigating reports that perhaps there was a secondary shooting situation. But right now, we have not been able to confirm any of that except for the initial shooting that took place at around 12:50 this afternoon. That's when the call came in to the SO. Chopper 4 is pushing around, looking for something good that would shed some light on the situation. That's why the camera is moving. And this is a situation that has impacted so many different parts of the airport. Take a look at that scene. So this is an area where you would not normally see a cluster of people like that. This is where some of the private jets, some of the corporate jets land and take off from at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. It is in a remote part of the airport, far away from the commercial jets, but you see people clustered there as well. And this is something that was very, very distressing for anyone who might have been joining us as it unfolded about 45 minutes or so ago. We were watching what looked as though to be an orderly process of people being allowed to go back into the terminals, back into the airport, having been evacuated because of that earlier shooting, when all of a sudden a mad scramble and dash. People looked as though they were trying to run from something yet again. We saw them running, we saw them crouching and hiding behind automobiles, trying to get themselves some coverage on the right-hand side. These are the scenes from earlier that I'm describing right now. Things appear to be getting back to normal. We have been told that the shooter was in custody and that there was no indication that this was a terror event, when all of a sudden this is what happened. And once again, people began again, we have not been able to confirm if there was a second shooting, but still a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos, and with those people who were killed today and affected by the shooting, a lot of tragedy here in South Florida.
Yeah, and so hard to kind of keep order at the airport. As you pointed out, people are all over the airport in places for passengers, and
so hard to kind of keep order at the airport. I mean, as you pointed out, people are all over the airport in places for passengers, and
as you mentioned, that second incident,
You can run out there with everything else.
told to get on the ground along with everyone else there.
Put your hand down.
At that time that there was an active shooter at Fort Lauderdale International Airport, Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, and to shelter in place, they said the airport is closed. And around the same time, Broward Sheriff tweeted out that there was an active concern that there were unconfirmed reports of additional shots fired on the airport property. So we do know that law enforcement at least is operating on that theory and trying to figure out also, along with us, what happened. And then we were told that Scouten also was told by passenger and a pilot that they heard shots coming off a United flight as well. And if you look at those pictures from earlier, you just see the chaos there. People trying to just shelter into place, trying to find cover, and trying to evacuate from that chaos there.
And you mentioned Ruta Bay. This is sort of the tail end of the Hollywood travel season, but at the same time, tomorrow is a big day for cruises to take off from Port Everglades. And so there are a lot of passengers, you can only imagine, and we actually spoke with one early in our coverage who had just arrived here this morning in preparation to take off on their cruise tomorrow. They were spending the night in the airport here in South Florida, and then their cruise takes off tomorrow morning. So you have to imagine a lot of people from out of town coming here to the area and getting set for a vacation to take place tomorrow. I wanted to give you some information now from our colleague Chris Van Cleve, who's speaking to his sources at the FAA. He's going to read this to you. Flights are not arriving or departing from Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport at this time. Several flights have been diverted to other South Florida airports or other airports around the state. The FAA has put in a ground stop for flights around the country that are destined for Fort Lauderdale Hollywood, and they are being held on the ground at the original airport. So flights that were supposed to depart from other cities and come here are no longer even taking off from their original origination airport. Travelers heading to with their air carriers, and the FAA says it will be updating information as it gets more information. But again, you see the situation there on the ground. The good news is that it looks to be it looks as though people are not in any kind of distress and perhaps just waiting further instruction on where to go and what to do.
Yeah, if you're just joining us now, 5 people dead, confirmed by law enforcement, 8 injured, taken to area hospitals at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport earlier today. The suspect has been identified as Esteban Santiago, identified as the gunman, told he had a military ID that said he was born in New Jersey. That is all we know about him so far right now. We don't even know if he has a military ID, but that's what we're told was found there
that is
on
all
the
we
scene.
know about him so
And there
far
were
right now.
reports
We
that
don't
he
even
had
know if
also
that's
been injured by law
ID,
enforcement.
but that's
I
what we're
don't
told
think
was
we've
found
confirmed
there
that
on the scene.
either yet, but those have been some
And
of
there
the
were
No, I'll
reports
show
that
you.
they
had
had
also
You
in.
can't take it off.
So 13 people
Okay.
died today at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport during the high season when travel is peaking right after the holidays. People flying in and out, and you can see the kind of the chaos there. It looks like it has calmed down, as you mentioned, Rick, but people on the tarmac and all different parts of the airport where you would never normally see people, and law enforcement, a huge presence there as they continue to swamp that airport to try to figure out if this is still an active scene. It's definitely still an active
Slow it.
investigation.
Don't touch it. Just slow
We
it.
were just reporting,
Slow it.
it was
Slow it
yesterday
down.
or the day before that Governor Rick Scott has requested additional funds that he wants to set up counterterrorism forces around the state of Florida in different regions in order to prepare for exactly this kind of a situation. Now, of course, law enforcement, Broward Sheriff, and local law enforcement here on the ground and state law enforcement, they do prepare for these types of situations. But Governor Scott realizing that there was the need for additional funding and announcing just within the last day or so that he was going to make that request for funding in order to beef up the security for exactly this type of thing.
Yes, and we still don't know if this is a terror attack or a lone gunman. We don't know what the situation is, but definitely he did want to prepare for that.
We still don't know if this is a terror attack or
Lucy,
we
can you
don't
never
know what the situation is, but definitely he did want to prepare for that. We have a soundbite from a witness who was there and saw it all. Let's listen.
Kind of waiting between Terminal 1 and the rental car place. Everybody started running.
I was taking the rental car back.
The rental car place. Some lady was
Waiting
going to
between
help.
Terminal 1 and the rental car place. Everybody started running out of Terminal 1 at the rental car place. Some lady was yelling for help.
And that is what we've been hearing, that people just ran. They heard either loud noises or they heard other people telling them to run, or they were told by officials at the airport to run. A lot of the people we've heard from so far have just said that we just ran, we just were told to run and we ran, or we were told to take cover or to get on the ground, as our reporter Joan Murray on the ground there said that she was told to do. So a lot of people, I think, don't even know what they're running from, or if they were how it would feel there, knowing there was a mass shooting there earlier, and knowing that 13 people have been shot.
Well, just to bring you up to date, it's now 3:20 on a Friday afternoon, as we are going to be reporting on this story now for quite some time. There has been tragedy here in South Florida, as Ruta Bay just said. A mass shooting at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, taking the lives, at least according to our sources, of at least 5 people right now. 8 other people have been injured and have been taken to local hospitals. A shooter is in custody, and sources telling CBS News that shooter's name is Esteban Santiago, with a military ID, born in New Jersey. We have not yet been able to confirm that for ourselves, but again, these are according to sources from the senior producer within the CBS News investigative unit. A law enforcement says that full formal name of the shooter is Esteban Santiago Ruiz, with a date of birth of 3/16/1990. That he was shot and wounded and is in custody. He had active duty military identification on him, either indicating active duty or reservist in the U.S. Army. We're also told, according to sources, that he had a concealed weapons permit on him at the time. Minor criminal history, previous known addresses include addresses in Puerto Rico and in Anchorage, Alaska. Again, this is information now reportable by CBS News pertaining to the shooter who is in custody, Esteban Santiago Ruiz, who is carrying with him active duty military identification. We're told that he was shot, wounded, and is in custody. Again, and these are the live pictures outside of Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. That is Terminal 1, and you can see the people there who are lined up. Thankfully, and we see pictures of young kids, of older people as well, people just trying to figure out and make sense of exactly what is going on there today, because there have been conflicting reports of perhaps more than one shooting situation. We do not have any confirmation that that is in fact the case, but it appeared as though, judging by the behavior of people on the ground that we were watching live from Chopper 4 and the other cameras, that it appeared as though people were under the impression, or at least concerned, that there was perhaps another shooter, that perhaps there were more shots being fired. But once again, the only shooting that we have been able to confirm is one that took place. It was called into BSO at 12:50 this afternoon, and the result of that, as you can see on the screen, 5 people dead. Ted Scouten is at the airport. He has been for a while. Ted, we've been watching this unfold. Do we have any more clarity in terms of what's going on?
Well, right now we're waiting for the FBI and BSO to speak. That should be in just a few minutes from now they'll be talking. We also just saw right now we're waiting for the FBI and BSO to speak. That should be in just a few minutes from now they'll be talking.
Just a few moments ago, I also spoke to someone else who was in Terminal 1. Now remember, Terminal 2 was where the initial shooting report was. He was in Terminal 1 waiting to board United Flight. He had just arrived. He was outside of security when he said he heard 4 to 5 gunshots coming from right in the area where he was outside of security. He said he was on the second floor, so that's when you check in. That is on the unsecured side of security. So he hadn't gone through security yet. That's where he heard more gunshots. That's about the time that terminal was evacuated. Right now we are waiting, just kind of looking to see if the FBI is heading down there. Just to give us an update, but as far as that, what we're hearing about shooting in Terminal 1, that will coincide with what we saw.
Make sure you blow that one. Don't touch it. You're going to blow it.
Onto the tarmac and then across the runway. So once again, BSO, not giving us a lot of information at this point.
Oh, Emma, you got white nail polish on your lip.
Incidents here at the airport. Right now it appears that things have calmed down a bit.
It's there now. Is it going to stay there forever? It might. Where's that white stuff? Okay, now, fix it.
Okay, Ted, thank you very much. And
There's other some.
we're expecting a media briefing with law enforcement officials, including
You're
the
right.
sheriff's office. Hopefully they can give us some clarity. But meantime, Joe Murray is inside
But
the
it's
airport.
still on.
He actually had to get down on the ground when the second incident happened, right?
Don't move.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever experienced anything like that before, being really close to the line of fire, I guess, if you
Yeah, I can't say I've ever experienced anything like that before. Being really
Terminal 2, where the original incident happened, waiting for passengers to come out of there that were being kept, when all of a sudden dozens of armed officers came storming out. They ran through the parking garage with their guns in the air, and then we were told to get on the ground. So at that point, there were about 2 dozen of us outside. We all just made it on the ground, and they kept saying, get down, we're covering our heads. We didn't know what was going on. After a few minutes, they moved us out to outside of Terminal 3 on the lower level, and that is where I am right now, along with nearly 200 other people. I think everyone might recall what it looked like at Columbine with the shooting several years ago. Well, that's what was happening. Police started rounding up everybody who was in the parking lot, and in any total area asking them to raise their arms and be heard, including us, the media, everybody who was in the area, and it's still happening now. Every few minutes we see a few people, 2 dozen more people being marched out, being brought out to this area, and then an armed officer is going through everybody's back, searching for any kind of weapon. We still see some armed officers in the parking garage making a sweep. We are not able to get any, information on exactly are they looking for somebody, but there is a fear perhaps that there is still a shooter in the area hiding, that they spot people who are at their cars, near their cars, in the garages. They're herding them over here to outside of Terminal 3, and they are searching them. That is going on right now, even as I speak, just a couple of minutes ago. Another group with their arms up. So far, they haven't found anything, and again, we still see armed officers in the parking lot looking for whatever they
Don't bang them up on anything, okay? So, you only got one sparkle left.
Give us a media briefing
Yeah.
any minute now, so
So?
we'll get some clarity about what all
It's
of this
okay.
is.
I like it. That's how it's supposed to be. No, don't touch it or else you already moved it, see? It's gonna come off now. Don't you listen when I say not to touch stuff?
Terminal 2, the lower level by baggage. The active shooter shot at least 13 people. 8 people, as I know right now, are in area hospital being treated.
Sure, that doesn't go anywhere.
5 people have succumbed to their wounds and tragically are dead. We
see.
are not releasing any information on any of the victims until we identify them, which is going to take some time, and we are able to respectfully notify the next of kin first. The investigation continues. We have area SWAT teams in the Broward Sheriff's Office SWAT team clearing the entire airport. There'll be no
Don't touch it.
airport until SWAT teams give me real-time information that it's safe. Right now we're taking this scene is considered fluid.
Don't touch it.
We won't be where we have one of the more critical pieces of information is we have the shooter in custody. He's unharmed. No law enforcement fired any shots. The subject is being interviewed by a team of FBI agents and Broward Sheriff's Office homicide detectives. Subject is incredible cohesiveness and cooperation between the Broward Sheriff's Office, the FBI, FDLE, and all the local law enforcement entities. We'll answer your questions at the end. We'll answer your questions at the end. At this point, I'm going to put the director of the airport on to tell you about what's going on at the airport. Then you'll be hearing from the staff, Mr. Bureau.
Shouldn't do that to your lips.
Director of the airport on to tell you about what's going on at the airport.
My name is Chris Hill, I'm the airport director here at Fort Lauderdale International Airport. Suspended operations at the airport for the time being. All the law enforcement.
You know that we've suspended operations at the airport for the time being.
Can you get that, see that pink stuff? See that pink egg? Get that, put that on your lips.
Inside the building and on airplanes right now, they're all sheltered in place. We're not sure exactly when the airport will open for operations. We work together with all the law enforcement units here, our airlines, and all the other agencies before we actually
through the building before we take any steps to reopen operations. We'll keep everybody informed
step by step, methodically through the building. We take any steps to reopen operations. Keep everybody informed as best we can through social media and our website as to when that may occur. And we'll also be setting up a hotline for families and friends that may be looking for folks that they haven't been able to reach in contact with. And we'll also post that in the relatively near future, again, on our website and through the website
My name is
and
George
social
Curran,
media.
the Special
That's all I
Agent
have
in
for
charge
now.
of the FBI's Miami Field Office. As the sheriff mentioned, the FBI is working very closely with the Broward Sheriff's Office, supporting their ongoing efforts here at the airport. We're working jointly during witness interviews as well as the suspect interviews. The investigation is very early. We have a lot of preliminary information that we are going through. At this point, our role is to actively support the Broward Sheriff's Office until we make a determination on the nature and the motive of this incident.
One paint my toenails. Okay. You did a very good job. Hey, Mom, no way I'm gonna put that where? Thank you.
It seems like somebody got injured evacuating, nothing to do with any type of gunshot.
I like purple. So you can use this on my toes, okay? Don't forget to do this. Always do that. Get that.
Law enforcement personnel, both federal, state, and local throughout the airport. No law enforcement in this time has confirmed that there's been any gunshot.
You always have to scrape it off, okay?
Status confirmed. Any gunshots are
Not in the shooting aspect of it.
Yeah, I'll use a different color.
If someone was arrested, it might be for a plethora of things. But to my knowledge, no one was taken into custody. People could have been secured in handcuffs until we found out who they were, what they were, how they were related, not related to this scenario.
Yeah,
So
there you
I
go.
don't know if they were physically arrested or not, but there's been no
Don't forget to scrape it. I don't want you
around the
to...
baggage
You
area.
know what I mean by scraping, right?
One suspect only in custody. We're not releasing any information on that suspect yet.
Okay, I'll use this.
No. No, when we apprehended him, the subject was arrested without incident. I don't know.
When we apprehended the subject
We're at the very beginning of the investigative stages. That's what this is all about. That's why at this point the lead on the investigation is with the Broward Sheriff's Office. If we do uncover sometime that this was related to any type of terrorist or terrorist activity, then the FBI will have complete incident command of this, and we'll be assisting the FBI as we move forward with the investigation.
Alright, don't worry about it.
Also, I want to say, this is not the time for anybody to call 911.
Cover your nails.
We're all over here. If you have a real emergency, of course, but
Onto the other side.
please keep the 911
It's easier to go the other side.
If you need information, you can follow us on Twitter.
Turn around. This way. Yeah, this. For the other side.
At Broward Sheriff.
Yeah, like that. There you go. There you go.
Not at this time, not to my knowledge.
I'll show you the
Too
picture.
early to either way on that. That's what's going on right now.
It's too early to say either way on that. That's what's going on right now.
I do know what flight, but we're not releasing any information until we can positively identify the victims and in a respectful, dignified manner notify the next of kin. We won't be giving up. No. No.
No point in asking this guy questions. He ain't gonna answer nothing. Talking to Charlie.
Yes, there's no at this point, there's no second active shooter. There are no victims suffering from gunshot wounds. We heard that information as well. It's not confirmed, and right now we're dealing with this incident right here.
That information as well. It's not confirmed, and right now we're dealing with this incident.
I'm sure they were looking for, clearing parking lots. We have a variety of SWAT teams.
You need to take off the nail polish.
Clearing the entire airport to make sure it's safe.
Yes.
Just doing their job, working very hard and diligently.
Yeah, like off my skin. You know, if you mess up and get it on my skin, just take it off for that. Still.
The airport's always very busy.
Hey?
We're one of the fastest growing airports in the country. So again, the terminals are very full right now. Our passengers are sheltered in place. So we want to actually get them automatically, as the sheriff has indicated.
You got to make there?
To make sure that folks are able to exit safely as they proceed with their clearing. So let's get started.
Terminal by terminal. Exit safely as they proceed with their clearance.
Right now,
Look at that. Don't make a mess.
either at the terminals or we've had some airplanes.
Don't get on the skin. Kind of like coloring. Stay in the lines.
People on board that have landed have not been
Break
boarding the
it
terminal
so you
building.
don't make it a
It's
mess.
possible that those airplanes may actually depart, not actually come into the terminal building. But on any given day, we typically handle
You don't need too much nail polish. Just make it go. These toenails are tiny.
That's a possibility that we're working with the airlines that some decisions may be made. It hasn't been confirmed yet that they may actually depart for other cities. We're going to go through the terminals again very slowly and methodically to make sure everything is clear before we make any decisions about releasing additional passengers.
in custody. He's being interviewed by a team of FBI agents and Broward Sheriff's deputies. And at the time, once we establish motive and an investigation continues and we find out what that motive is, then myself and Mr. Pirro, the Director SAC of the FBI, will make a decision as to who takes the lead on the continuing investigation.
Sheriff, did any of your deputies fire their weapons at this parking garage? Is that possibly what we heard? What did we hear?
I don't know what you heard, but there's no confirmation of any type of gunshot anywhere but at the time of this horrific incident.
Sheriff, can you say if the gunman was a airline passenger, or did he come in at the arrivals area?
I believe I know that information, but it's not something we're going to release at this time.
Can you say where he's being interrogated?
Where he is right now? I'm not sure where he's right.
Sheriff, if there was no other viable threat, a second threat, why would the airport be closed after the first person was arrested and
I'm not sure. Thank you very much. Please follow us at Broward Sheriff on Twitter.
Can you just tell what caused the evacuation?
And that is Broward Sheriff Scott Israel wrapping up a press conference. Some very significant developments to share with you. First of all, the first thing is that the only shooter, the sole shooter, believed to be the sole shooter, is in custody and is being questioned right now by law enforcement on the scene there. They do not believe that there was any other shooting at any other place in the airport other than the initial shooting just before 1 o'clock this afternoon at Terminal 2. There was some confusion. Was there another shooter? Were there other shots fired? Sheriff Israel saying that he has no indication that shots were fired anywhere in the building at the airport other than during the initial shooting at the baggage claim area of Terminal 2. Again, we have been the sheriff confirming the numbers that CBS News has been reporting, which is that 5 people have been killed, that 8 other people have been wounded. And so just a horrific day, in the words of Sheriff Scott Israel. He says that the shooter was taken into custody without any Broward Sheriff's officers or deputies having to fire their weapons. And so apparently he was taken into custody without incident and is now being interrogated as law enforcement desperately tries to find out exactly what his motivation might have been. One other thing I want to share with you, as I'm joined by my colleague Rudabeh Shabazi, and that is that we've heard from one of the Broward commissioners, Chip LaMarca, who is reporting to us that the shooter was a passenger on a Canadian flight with a checked gun. Again, this is according to a Fort Lauderdale Broward County commissioner who is telling us that this shooter claimed his bag at the baggage claim area, then took the gun from his baggage before going into a bathroom and loading his weapon. We then, according to this Broward commissioner, Chip LaMarca, the shooter then came out of the bathroom shooting people in the baggage claim area. And so we heard the question of Scott Israel, was this someone who came into the airport or someone who arrived at the airport, who flew into the airport? And according at least to this Broward County Commissioner, Chip LaMarca, this was someone who was a fellow passenger whose flight had arrived at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport and who had claimed his baggage, which apparently, according to this commissioner, contained a weapon, which he then loaded and began firing.
Hard to wrap your head around why he would have a checked gun, especially coming from Canada, where the gun control laws are so strict. But if he had a military ID and was in fact part of the military, that might explain that theory. But of course, we don't really know what the circumstances are. But we do know Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, one of the busiest, one of the fastest growing, 80 to 100,000 passengers come through daily, and the flights are still there. On the planes are still full of passengers on the runway. They might divert to other airports, they might leave, but right now everyone is sheltered in place. Sheriff Scott Israel said that they are going through the entire airport to clear it. As you mentioned, Rick, he said that he does not believe there is another active shooter, that there was that one shooter who acted alone, but they still have to clear the whole airport, make sure it's safe for people to move, to get out, and right now they are sheltered in place. The airport has suspended operations, all operations, and there will be a hotline set up for the families. They are working on that, but they are asking, really pleading with people, do not call 911, do not clog up those lines, because they need to leave those open. The 911 dispatchers will not have any information for you. You can follow the Broward Sheriff's Department on social media. Of course, keep watching CBS 4 News, and we will bring you any updates as we get them, but it's very important to keep the 911 lines clear. And we do have Ted Scouten on the scene there. He just finished that news conference and has been there since this unfolded. Ted, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Rutabaga. You know, one thing I think is important to bring up is that the patient, they don't, he said that was the words that he used, and he said right now BSO is controlling the scene. It's a BSO investigation right now, and the FBI is assisting the Broward Sheriff's Office. However, he said if that shifts, if they believe that there may be some type of terroristic activity here, then the whole thing would shift over to the FBI, and in that case BSO would help them. So at this point, all of the investigation being done by the Broward Sheriff's Office, being headed by BSO with the assistance of the FBI. And to reiterate what the sheriff was saying, we had gotten reports of possible gunfire in Terminal 1. We had 4 reports from 4 different people of that. The sheriff said that he has no reports of gunfire in Terminal 1, only in Terminal 2 where that initial incident was. So he said in terms of what caused the big evacuation, everyone to run out of Terminal 1, he does not know, but he said he has no reports that there was gunfire inside Terminal 1 or in the garage. He said that possibly in the garage what may have been going on is that deputies and officers may have been checking the garage to make sure that the garage is safe, kind of doing a sweep to make sure that everything was okay. But at this point saying again, gunfire only in one spot here in the airport, and that was in Terminal 2.
We are not getting any word, Ted, and I heard that the reporter is asking Sheriff Israel about this, about those people who were killed or who were wounded today. They're not identifying those victims. They said that they're going to take their time and they're going to get in touch with the next of kin and the families of those who were affected by this, which is completely understandable at this point. But a lot of people obviously here in Broward County and around the country wanting to know how their loved ones are. This is, as Rutabaga said, a very, very busy airport. Talk to us about the scene there right now. As you take a look around you, you're not far from where there was a flurry of activity not too long ago when there was that concern of perhaps another situation in another part of the airport. How do things seem now?
Right now, things seem much calmer. We've watched people actually go up the stairs and go back in to Terminal 2. It appeared that it was employees who were going in there. Behind this wall here, there were a bunch of people sheltering in place. They have since been moved. I'm going to ask you to swing over here further. You see where all those cars are? Those SUVs earlier, there were people that were cowered behind those SUVs, sheltering behind them, perhaps coming because they were close to the garage where it was being checked out. Everyone has gone from there. If you go up, you'll see Terminal 1. No people outside of Terminal 1. Earlier, we saw people running out of Terminal 1 and running across the runway. We're going to go to the runway now. The tarmac, the runway, and the taxiway on the other side. No one there. That was loaded with people earlier. But all those people now have been moved. Not quite sure where they went. However, I am being told that everyone is sheltering in place, so where they are, I don't know. But everyone is kind of in place until they have the whole airport secured and they can be sure that there's nothing else going on. Something else to say as well, when you look over here, you see there's no airplanes. I think in other parts of the airport, and I don't have the aerial view here, but I know that there's other planes on the ground, several of them. We've been told that there are still passengers on many planes, and they're not sure what's going to happen with those passengers. They're discussing that right now. Those planes could take off again, and they could be diverted to another airport as everything is sorted out here. So again, the airport here in Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport remains closed right now as the FBI and BSO, as well as Homeland Security, so federal officers here, as they do their search to make sure that everything here is safe and that it's okay to reopen it to passengers. passengers.
A much different scene than what we were seeing over Ted's shoulder just about 25-30 minutes ago as that tarmac was filled with people, Ted. I just want to give some information. As on the right-hand side of the screen, those are the pictures I was referring to from earlier, and not much earlier, just a little while ago. People were out there on the tarmac waiting further instructions. Those people are now have been cleared and moved to a different
I was like talking to you this whole time you weren't even there. Wow.
Bottom of your screen, Esteban Santiago.
Wow, Charlie.
Of the person who is responsible for the bloodbath today at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. Shooter.
That is the name we are hearing of the person who is responsible for the bloodbath today at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. That shooter in custody now. He apparently taken into custody by a BSO deputy without
hungry still.
Shots being fired, according to Broward
Get a string cheese or something.
Broward Sheriff Scott Israel. No BSO deputy had to fire any shots in apprehending the shooting suspect today. Again, we're told Esteban Santiago Ruiz, date of birth 3/16/1990. We are told that he was carrying with him an active duty on him.
No.
Indicated he was either active duty or was a reservist in the U.S. Army.
Oh, no, I'm done listening to this.
Concealed weapons permit. Although I don't believe.
Why? You being sneaky, Emma?
Get in there and watch him.